Hey guys, my name is Brent. I'm one of the trainers here at K9s Only, and today I'm going to be answering another question from our Ask the Trainer section in our monthly newsletter. So for those of you who have rescued an animal before, or maybe adopted a dog from a shelter or rescue organization, maybe the thought has probably occurred to you whether you should get a second dog or a third dog, depending on how ambitious you are. And with the question that we're answering today, I hope is actually very useful to you guys. And this question comes from Kate R. And it reads, hey guys, I'm thinking about adopting another dog so that my current 1-year-old Terrier has company. Any suggestions on breed? Should I get the same type of dog and same sex? How about age? So this is a pretty dynamic question, and I'm going to do my best to answer it as thoroughly as possible. I don't want to mislead anybody. I would recommend, though, that adopting another animal is on a very individual basis. Obviously, the type of family you are, the type of time that you have, and the type of dog in general, it changes from circumstance to circumstance. So I would encourage you guys, if you are going to adopt, definitely consult a trainer or a very experienced rescuer on what they feel and what they think before actually making a decision. So here we go. All right, so let's get started on the subject of breed. As a dog trainer, I hear a lot of misconceptions in regards to breed. People assume that certain breeds are more intrinsically, going to be nicer, easier to train, more assertive, etc. And what we see a lot in animal behavior, just like with human behavior, it really is a roll of the dice, what you're given. I've seen really lazy German Shepherds. I've seen very high drive German Shepherds. I've seen really mean Chihuahuas before, and I've also seen the sweetest, happiest go lucky Chihuahuas that ever existed. So it really just depends on the individual dog itself. So when we're looking at breed, we can't necessarily look at breed as a huge variable in trying to figure out who's going to get along with our dog that we already have adopted. But what we can look at breed as is a size factor. Okay, when we look at playing, if we are genuinely getting a dog for another dog member of our family, we kind of want to look at compatibility, right? So if I have a very, very small dog playing with a very, very large dog, pretty much the large dog constantly has to hold back some of their drives or impulses to respect the smaller breed, okay? And so ideally, you would assume that the small dog would want to play small dog games, or the big dog would want to play big dog games. And so that would probably be the only reason I would consider types of breeds or sizes of dogs in general to help kind of guide a decision. Again, it could change. I know many, many pairings with big dogs and small dogs, but my biggest focus as a dog trainer is, are these two dogs going to be able to play with each other the way that they want to play with each other? So that would be my 2 cents in regards to breed. Other factors that are extremely important, we have to look at age and we have to look at gender. So let's dive into those right now. All right, so next let's talk about the dog's sex, okay? When pairing a couple dogs, there's a couple general guidelines that aren't necessarily set in stone. There is no 10 commandments to pairing dogs, but generally what we have to teach you as dog trainers is what works 90% of the time and not talk about what works 10% of the time. Okay, there are many dogs that don't fit these guidelines, but generally speaking, we have to play our odds. What are the highest odds of success? Okay, so when we look at pairing dogs with each other, probably one of the most compatible pairings is a male and a female compatibility. Okay, now this is not to say that dogs cannot get along if there's 2 males or 2 females, but generally speaking, what we see is that the female dogs have a different niche than a male dog has. Okay, and ultimately, when we're trying to create a pairing or a bond or balance within a pack dynamic in the house, we're looking at 2 different niches. Okay, if we have 2 dogs that share the same niche, let's say you have 2 tough, protective dogs. Unfortunately, what might happen is they actually compete over this niche. Okay, maybe one wants to be the tougher, more protective dog, and then the other one is constantly getting beat up or attacked or bullied, etc. So it's always about niche. Okay, males and females, they have different niches. Male dogs tend to be a little bit more assertive, more protective. Female dogs, actually, funny enough, have a reputation of controlling the male dog. So gentlemen, I do apologize, but it even happens across species. When we're looking at gender, this is the ideal pairing, a male and a female pairing. Now, there are many situations where two females can get along and two males can get along. But what we have to look at is we have to look at the dog's specific temperaments. So if the temperaments are too similar, the likelihood of there being conflict and competition over that specific niche is very high. So again, if you are interested in adopting another male for your male dog or another female for your female dog, not to say that it's a bad idea, I would just recommend to get professional help so that way they can guide you through the specifics of your situation a little bit better. Okay? I hope that was helpful. On to the next thing, age. Okay, so the very last factor to discuss is the dog's age. Now, when discussing dog's age, I wouldn't put so much focus on the age of the dog I want to adopt as much as I really need to respect the age of the dog that I already have. So in this particular scenario, you have a 1-year-old terrier, which means that your dog is going to be energetic, bouncy, is in the peak of adolescence right now, so a little assertive most likely. And so probably one of the last things you want to do for yourself as a dog owner is to add another one of those to the mix. Because then what we start dealing with, we deal with two dogs that are acting and feeding off of each other. A lot of energy, a lot of barking, a lot of play, don't get me wrong. But sometimes that may not be the easiest for you, the dog owner, okay? Sometimes, if I take an adolescent dog and I give them a younger puppy, they actually mature just a little bit because they have to become big brother or big sister. So that's a good factor when getting a puppy for your teenage dog. If you get a dog who's a little bit older than your 1-year-old terrier, then what may happen is the older dog, who's a little bit more assertive, knows who they are a little bit better, may have a tendency of wanting to control the 1-year-old adolescent dog. Okay, so always keep the age factor in mind as far as creating harmony between the two of them. Now, if you were to get a very elder dog, an old timer, the young rambunctious dog that you have may actually bother that older one, okay? Again, there's always exceptions to these rules, but you always have to think from the dog's perspectives. Having multiple dogs is a wonderful, wonderful experience, but it does come with a lot of responsibility. Usually my recommendation as a dog trainer, if you do not have a good relationship with your first dog, meaning that your dog understands the house rules, understands what you like from them, and if you don't feel confident that you can actually control your dog in the situations that you would come across in your life, probably first things first, getting that dog trained or developing that relationship would probably be the best first step. Because unfortunately, if you don't have control over your first dog, adding a second dog to the mix may actually just make your load a lot heavier as a dog parent. So if you can have control over one dog, sometimes that controlled dog can actually help you raise the second one properly. So just something to think about. Thank you guys so much for submitting these questions. I really have a lot of fun answering them and educating you guys as best as I can. Keep these questions coming. Those of you guys who are interested in submitting them, just go click on the Ask the Trainers link on our monthly newsletter, and we will hopefully get around to your questions just like this next month. You guys have a wonderful time and have a great, great September. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.